And before delving into the substance, there's been a lot of attempts to denigrate this reporting by suggesting there's something nefarious about the relationship between Elon Musk and the reporters who have been reporting it, that there's conditions he imposed on what you can and can't say, that he's paid you to say what he wanted. Is any of that true? Were there conditions imposed on the access that you had to this material in terms of what you were allowed to report or couldn't?
No. No conditions. I signed nothing. I agreed to nothing. I'm happy to have the opportunity to come in and do some reporting on these files. But, to be perfectly candid, I simply came to the Twitter offices last week, and for 3 days, without any editorial input, no one told me what to look for or asked me what I was doing. I came in and I made some requests to a Twitter attorney who would go to another room and then try to kind of fulfill those requests using some research tools on various documents that I asked for. And another Twitter engineer helped fulfill other requests because I also made asks around certain tools that they use to manage people's Twitter profiles. That's about it. They did not kind of pressure me or reach out in any way. There's obviously no money exchanged, and nothing like that. I never met Elon Musk, but this is an interesting opportunity, so I seized it and hope to do more public interest focused reporting using these documents. If there's stuff in those documents that helps us understand the world better, understand this company better, understand how public life, whether that's social media or interactions with the government, can be kind of elevated or illustrated with journalism, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, it used to be kind of uncontroversial that if you were a journalist and someone offered you the opportunity to get information that helped the world understand powerful actors or important decisions better, you immediately say yes without regard to who that source is or what their motives are. But that seems to have changed quite a bit in at least some sectors of journalism. So you're the third person I've spoken with. Go ahead. Do you want to say something about that?
Well, yeah, I should just say, I've reported on dozens and dozens of stories with kind of unusual sources. I think there are alleged Qatari hackers that I obtained documents from, Algerian hackers, Russian sources, FBI, law enforcement, leakers. There's people with various motives. And I get that Elon Musk is an unusual, controversial source, but I've done so many stories with other kind of unusual sources. Well, what matters is, is it a public interest story? Do the documents, does the story actually tell something that serves the public interest? And here, that's clearly the case. But, of course, people obsess over Elon Musk because he is a kind of a polarizing figure. I get that. But it doesn't reflect the journalism.
Yeah, I mean, in Watergate, what we're all taught in childhood is like the pinnacle of journalistic excellence. The main source that they call Deep Throat turned out to be an FBI official bitter that he was passed over for the position of FBI director by Nixon, and his leaks were designed to get vengeance on Nixon for that what he took as that personal affront. So you're the third journalist that I've interviewed who has reported on these files after Matt Taibbi, then Michael Schellenberg last night, with whom I spoke. There's a lot of kind of complex documents being tossed around, a lot of important revelations being divulged at once. I think sometimes the public has a hard time processing that when that's the case. So talk about what you regard as, say, the 2 or 3 most significant findings from the first installment of reporting that you did.
Well, this is kind of 2 simultaneous stories that I reported yesterday. One, as you described at the top of this segment, we're looking at the kind of hypocritical policies of Twitter that, this is a company that's promised since 2016 that they rapidly identify and thwart and shut down all state-backed influence operations, covert government efforts to manipulate their platform using fake aliases, fake identities to shape, public opinion in a foreign country, or their, to place military or intelligence propaganda. They've testified to Congress that they're against it and they're going to shut it down. All government action. And this story also looks at the U.S. military and their sprawling effort and their interactions with Twitter. Twitter gave essentially a concierge service to CENTCOM, the U.S. Central Command, which has really been kind of orchestrating these influence and psychological operations throughout the Middle East, using these Arab language accounts to create what looks like authentic, interactions, authentic people and news sources, news portals, talking about the accuracy of U.S. drone strikes in Yemen, success in wars and military engagement with U.S. enemies like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, promoting anti-Iran and anti-Russia narratives in the Middle East, promoting the Saudi-led coalition that's fighting a war in Yemen. This kind of relationship between Twitter and the military goes back at least until 2017. That's the earliest I found documents where, you have officials from CENTCOM sending an email to Twitter with a list of their Twitter accounts that they control, asking for special privileges for those accounts. And I can see in the Twitter documents that as soon as they sent that request, that same day, Twitter officials went to the back end into their tools and provided a special tag to those accounts that were requested by CENTCOM. And they gave a special whitelist tag. That's basically giving the privileges of a blue check verification without the visible blue check. So what does the verification do? Beyond being a status marker, I guess, it provides, even without the blue check, on the Twitter backend, that blocks accounts from being flagged as spam or for abuse or for interacting with accounts that might be promoting terrorist content. That helps them be more likely to trend or be indexed by hashtags and more visible, basically, in the Twitter timeline. So they were providing very close support, and initially some of these CENTCOM accounts were publicly identified as affiliated with the military, but for a very long period they shed that affiliation and that disclosure, and Twitter was well aware. We can see in the emails that they were talking about these kind of cloak and dagger Twitter accounts and not sure what to do with them.
So Lee, one of the reasons that I think Thanks for watching this clip from System Update. Catch our full shows for free, live weekdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on Rumble, and join our locals community at greenwald.locals.com for all of my written journalism, exclusive after-show Q&As, and more.